Once upon a time in the vibrant market of Marrakech, there lived a wise old storyteller named Ahmed. His tales captivated all who gathered around him, weaving magic into the hearts of children and adults alike. The air was always filled with the scent of spices, the sound of merchants calling out, and the laughter of friends. Each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery shades of orange and purple, people would flock to hear Ahmed's stories. One warm evening, a curious young girl named Layla approached him, her bright eyes full of wonder. "O wise storyteller," she implored, "please share a tale that will inspire courage and kindness." Ahmed smiled, stroking his long beard, and began his tale. In a small, sun-kissed village at the foot of the majestic Atlas Mountains, there lived a humble potter named Idris. Known for his exquisite pottery, he crafted pieces adorned with intricate designs inspired by the world around him. His bowls and vases told stories of the mountains, the rivers, and the vibrant sunsets that enveloped the village. Yet despite his exceptional talent, Idris struggled to sell his wares, overshadowed by the grandeur of a wealthy merchant named Tariq. Idris would often watch from his small shop as customers flocked to Tariq's establishment, drawn by the merchant's dazzling displays and extravagant lifestyle. The envy in Idris's heart was a heavy burden, but he focused on perfecting his craft. One sunny afternoon, while shaping clay into a delicate pot, Idris heard a soft cry outside. Curiosity tugged at him, and he stepped out into the warm sunlight. There, on the ground, lay a small, injured bird, its wing bent at an odd angle. The little creature looked up at him with fearful, bright eyes. Idris's heart swelled with compassion. He gently scooped up the bird and brought it inside his modest workshop. For days, Idris cared for the injured bird, tending to its wounds. As he worked on his pottery, he would talk to the bird, sharing his dreams and hopes. "One day, I will create a piece that captures the beauty of this land," he would say. The bird listened, chirping softly in response, a little spark of connection forming between them. As the days turned into weeks, the bird began to heal. One evening, as the sun painted the sky with hues of gold, Idris knew the time had come to set the little creature free. He carried it outside, the air filled with anticipation. "You are strong now," he said softly. With a gentle flick of his wrist, he released the bird into the sky. To his astonishment, it circled back, singing a melodious tune that filled the village with joy. The bird flew around him 3 times, before soaring high, its sweet song echoing across the mountains. The following morning, as Idris opened his shop, he found a crowd gathered outside. They had heard the enchanting song of the bird. Curious, they entered his shop, marveling at the beauty of his pottery. Idris watched in amazement as one by one, villagers began to purchase his creations. Each piece they bought felt like a gentle reminder that kindness can indeed change the world. Word spread like wildfire throughout the region, and soon travelers from distant lands arrived, eager to see the Potter of Kindness. As his fame grew, so did his generosity. Idris made it his mission to use his success to help those in need. He set aside a portion of his earnings to provide food for the hungry, warm blankets for the cold, and a safe place for children to learn and play. Years passed, and the village flourished under Idris's influence. His workshops became a hub of creativity and collaboration. Artists, musicians, and storytellers would gather to share their talents and inspire one another. They would speak of kindness, reminding each other that their actions could shape the community. One day, the wealthy merchant Tariq, feeling threatened by Idris's growing success, hatched a plan to ruin him. He invited Idris to a grand feast at his luxurious home, hoping to frame him for theft and reclaim his position as the favorite potter of the village. The feast was lavish, filled with exotic foods and vibrant music. Tariq watched as Idris, unaware of his intentions, mingled with the guests, sharing stories and laughter. As the evening wore on, Tariq seized his moment. He stood up, raising his glass and declaring, "Tonight, we celebrate the talents of our village. But let us not forget to keep an eye on our treasures. Some may wish to take what isn't theirs." He pointed an accusing finger at Idris, his voice dripping with malice. "This potter has been seen near my shop, lurking about. Who knows what he could take when no one is watching?" The room fell silent, and the tension was palpable. Idris's heart sank as whispers spread among the guests. But just as the weight of accusation bore down upon him, a familiar chirping filled the air. The little bird he had saved, now fully healed, flew into the room and landed gracefully on Tariq's shoulder. It began to sing a sweet, uplifting melody. The guests were mesmerized. They turned their attention from Tariq to the enchanting bird. Memories of Idris's kindness flooded their minds. They recalled the stories of how he had cared for the injured creature and how he used his success to uplift the community. A wave of realization washed over them, and murmurs of support for Idris began to rise. Tariq's face flushed with embarrassment as the crowd began to rally around the potter. They praised Idris for his unwavering integrity and generosity, highlighting how he had enriched their lives through his art and compassion. The atmosphere shifted, and the whispers against Idris transformed into words of admiration. Realizing he was losing control of the situation, Tariq's anger boiled over. With a defeated glare, he stormed out of the feast, leaving behind the shimmering wealth that had once defined him. From that day forward, Idris continued to thrive, not just as a potter, but as a beacon of hope and kindness in the village. He expanded his community center, transforming it into a vibrant space for learning and creativity. Children came to paint, musicians played to lift spirits, and storytellers shared their tales, all inspired by the spirit of kindness that Idris had fostered. As years passed, Layla grew up listening to the tales of Idris, the Potter of Kindness. Inspired by his legacy, she often helped her neighbors, embodying the values of compassion and generosity she had learned. She discovered her own passion for crafting beautiful jewelry, weaving beads and metal into intricate designs that reflected the beauty of her homeland. One day, Layla decided to host a festival to celebrate kindness and creativity. Inviting everyone in the village to share their talents. She envisioned a day filled with music, art, and storytelling, a celebration of the very essence of their community. As the festival day approached, excitement buzzed through the village. Everyone contributed in their own way, baking treats, setting up stalls, and decorating the square with colorful fabrics and lanterns. On the day of the festival, the village transformed into a tapestry of joy. Musicians played lively tunes, children danced, and artisans displayed their crafts. Layla felt a sense of fulfillment as she watched her neighbors come together, their laughter mingling with the melodies of celebration. As the sun began to set, Casting a golden glow over the festivities, Layla took to a small stage. Her heart raced with anticipation as she addressed the crowd, her voice ringing clear in the evening air.